In this video, I am going to cover top 4 mutual fund categories to invest in 2023. Whatever mutual funds I am going to suggest in this video are for long term. You can take an investment horizon of around 10 to 15 years. Moreover, this video is going to be helpful for both new and existing investors. Friends, my name is Abhishek Mishra and I talk about personal finance. I have already created a video on why you should consider investing in mutual fund. If you haven't watched that video, consider watching it after completing this video. The link is in the description box and I button. Few important points to consider before I get into the details of the mutual fund. A person should always align his or her investment as per the financial goal, checking their risk appetite and investment horizon. Whenever you are selecting a mutual fund, select the direct plan. There is no guarantee that the mutual fund which has performed the best in the past may perform the same in the future. It may happen that the best performing mutual fund may see a lean phase in the future. So it doesn't mean that you should exit from that mutual fund until and unless there is an issue with that particular mutual fund house. Therefore, there is nothing called number one mutual fund. Hence, I have selected 2 mutual funds in each category. The parameter based on which I have selected these mutual funds are: the first one is inception date, or the date when this fund has started. The second is asset under management size, which is also called AUM size. The third one is expense ratio, and the fourth one is fund manager. Before going to the list, I request you to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so that you get notified whenever I release my next videos. So the first category in this list is index fund. Friends, I have not considered any large cap active fund in this category. The reason you will get to know in some time. So an index fund is nothing but a fund which simply replicates the index. For example, if a mutual fund replicates Nifty 50, then it would have 50 stocks in the portfolio that are part of the Nifty 50 indices with exact same allocation. Many mutual fund gurus say that an index fund are the future of mutual fund. The reason is that it has been proved in many developed countries like US that in a long term, active funds are not able to beat the benchmark. Active funds are basically the fund where the fund manager selects the fund as per his or her choice and sells and buys accordingly. Ideally, the ultimate goal of active fund is to beat the benchmark. But if you look at the last many years data, all active funds in the large cap categories are not able to beat the benchmark. One of the major reasons is expense ratio. What is expense ratio? I have already covered it in another video. The 2 funds in index fund category are UTI Nifty 50 Index Fund and HDFC Index Fund Nifty 50 Plan. So the 2 funds which I have selected in this category have low expense ratio and less tracking error. Moreover, these 2 funds are there in the market for a long time. When you check the UTI Nifty 50 Index Fund, the expense ratio of this fund is 0.2%. The AUM size is 9,500. The benchmark is Nifty 50 and the inception date is 1st January 2013. So this is relatively a very old fund. When I talk about the HDFC Index Fund, the expense ratio is again 0.2%. The AUM size is a bit lesser, which is 7,551 crore as compared to UTI. The benchmark is again the same, Nifty 50, and the inception date is also the same, which is 2013 January. So these both funds are relatively very old fund and can be easily trusted. When it comes to fund managers, there is no active fund management involved in index fund because the portfolio of index fund mirrors the index. So fund managers doesn't play much role here, and that is the reason expense ratio of passive index funds are low. Apart from these index funds, there are many new index funds which had been launched by old and new AMCs. I'm not considering any of them. The reason is that I wanted to consider the funds which are very old and can be easily trusted. So HDFC and UTI are the trusted brand. We can easily go with it. The next category is tax saving or ELSS category. This is by far the single category. If you invested, you get tax saving under ATC up to 1.5 lakh rupees. In fact, I started my first mutual fund journey by investing in ELSS fund only. This fund has a lock-in period of 3 years, which means if you have invested on a lump sum or SIP basis, you cannot withdraw the money until 3 years. So you follow a discipline, and I think this fund is best if you plan for your retirement. Moreover, ELSS has the potential to surpass the return in the long term if compared with other tax saving schemes like PPF and NSC. However, in short term, it could be volatile. So the first fund in ELSS category is Mirai Asset Tax Saver Fund. So the expense ratio of this particular fund is 0.55%. The AUM size is 14,255 crore. The benchmark, again, it follows S&P BSE 200, and the inception date is 28 December 2015. So this fund is again a bit old fund. When I talk about the 5 years return, this fund has given a return of around 14.2 CAGR in the 5 years. The next fund which I'm going to talk about is Quant Tax Plan. So this particular fund again has an expense ratio of 0.5%. The AUM size is around 2,300 crore. The benchmark, it follows the same, which is S&P BSE 200, and the inception date is 1st January 2013. So if I talk about the return of this particular fund in 5 years, this fund has given a CAGR return of around 22.4% in the last 5 years. This fund has given more return as compared to Mirai Asset, but my first pick would be Mirai Asset and the second would be Quant Tax Plan Growth Fund.
And the main reason is the fund manager and his investment style. Mirai Asset Tax Saver Fund Manager Mr. Nilesh Surana is a known name in mutual fund industry. He is managing the fund since December 2015. He has managed the fund quite exceptionally well. He also manages other fund under Mirai Asset called Emerging Blue Chip Fund. The fund managers of Quant Fund are also good, with many young face, but they keep on changing their managers quite frequently.
So the third category in this list is Flexi Cap Fund category. Friends, I'm not considering any mid-cap fund in my list. The reason being to avoid over-diversification and overlapping. We already have ELSS fund, which has the capability to invest some of its amount in mid-cap sectors. And the Flexi Cap fund has the ability or flexibility to invest in large cap, mid cap and small cap sectors. So the first pick in this category is Parag Parekh Flexi Cap Fund. This fund had been suggested by many people in the past, but of late, from last 1 year, there had been some issue with this fund. However, this is still the first pick. The best thing is it invests 15% in US tech stocks and 75% is invested in Indian equities. So this is the only fund in Flexi Cap category which has the exposure in international fund. Previously, the fund used to invest 30% of its portfolio in US tech stocks. However, due to recent regulatory changes by SEBI, they are not being allowed to invest more than 15%. So Parag Parekh Flexi Cap Fund expense ratio is 0.76%. The AUM size is 28,546 crore, which has increased a lot just because it has an exposure in US tech stock. The benchmark is again S&P BSE 500 and the inception date is May 2013. When I talk about the investment in tech stock, the first stock is Microsoft with 4.9% holding. The next one is Alphabet with 4.89%. The third one is Amazon with 3.38% and the fourth one is Meta or Facebook with 1.85% holding. So altogether it has 15% holding in the US tech stock.
When it comes to the fund managers, right now this fund is managed by 4 people. Mr. Rajiv Thakkar and Ronak Onkar had been associated with this fund since 2013 and 2011 respectively. Mr. Raj Mehta is also a very old employee, joined Parag Parekh as an intern in 2012 and swiftly moved in the rank and currently manages this fund since 2016.
The second fund in this category is PGIM Flexi Cap Fund. This is by far also a very good fund. The expense ratio is lower than Parag Parekh, which is 0.35%. The AUM size is low, but still it is more than 5,000. Which is 5,380 crore. The benchmark is S&P BSE 500 and the inception date is 4th March 2015. So this is also a very old fund. When I talk about the last 5-year return, so this fund has given 15.1% in last 5 years. When compared with Parag Parikh, it has given around 15.8%. So it's almost the same.
Most of the fund managers managing PGIM Flexi Cap Fund are appointed recently to manage this fund, except Mr. Aniruddha Naga, who is managing this fund since 2018.
But my first pick in this category is again Parag Parikh, just because it has an exposure in US tech stock. The fourth category is small cap fund category. This is a high risk category, and if your investment horizon is around 10 to 12 years, then only you should consider investing in this fund. Moreover, your risk appetite should be high. But if you are in your 20s, 30s or even 40s, you should definitely consider in this particular category. So the first fund in this category is Axis Small Cap Fund. The best thing about Axis Small Cap Fund is that the fund managers are quite adventurous and they explore funds and invest in stocks when during bull market the return is superb and during bear market it is quite volatile. So Axis Small Cap expense ratio is 0.51%. The AUM size is around 11,358 crore. The benchmark is again S&P BSE Small Cap and inception date is 5th January 2013.
When it comes to the fund managers, Mr. Anupam Tiwari from Axis Small Cap is managing this fund quite efficiently from 2016. He also manages other funds in Axis. Supporting him, Hitesh Das is managing since December 2020.
The second fund in this category is Quant Small Cap Fund. When I talk about Quant Small Cap expense ratio is higher than Axis, which is 0.62%. AUM size is 2,580, which is quite small. The benchmark is again the same and inception date is January 2013. So this is a very old mutual fund scheme. When I talk about the 5 years return, Axis has given 18% CAGR in last 5 years. However, Quant has given around 24.4% in last 5 years.
The Quant Small Cap Fund management are almost the same as that of Quant's Tax Saver Fund, except Mr. Sanjeev Sharma, who is managing since January 2017.
To summarize, in index fund category, we have UTI Nifty 50 Index Fund and HDFC Index Fund Nifty 50 Plan. In ELSS category, we have Mirai Asset Tax Saver Fund and Quant Tax Plan. In Flexi Cap category, we have Parag Parikh Flexi Cap Fund and PGIM India Flexi Cap Fund. In Small Cap category, we have Axis Small Cap and Quant Small Cap. With this, we have come to the end of this video. I hope you would have liked my recommendation. If you have any question with regard to any of the fund, please write in the comment box. I am going to reply. Also, if you have liked the content, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.